You're going about your day, and all of a sudden, something in your body feels different, and you don't like it. You might suddenly feel nauseous, a twitch, weird sensations in various places of the body, or even pain in a certain area. And what is the first thing you do? You run straight to Dr. Google. What causes sudden nausea? Why does my calf hurt? Should I be concerned if I feel dizzy? Etc. Does this sound like you? I know it sounds like me. But in this video, we are going to talk about why I have tried to mostly stop Googling my symptoms and the reasons why I think it's a good practice for all of us. But before we dive in, please welcome to Fitness with an Illness. My name is Ryan. Here on this channel, we like to talk about fitness, chronic illness, and how to navigate that chronic illness effectively and pursue better health despite the negative circumstances. If any of that sounds interesting to you, I'd really appreciate it if you consider liking and subscribing to the channel. It really helps us out, and you never know if you sharing this video to someone might help somebody else in their own health journey. Thank you. Now, back to the video. Let me start by being crystal clear. There is nothing, and I mean absolutely nothing wrong with looking up your symptoms online. There have been so many times in my life where a quick Google search has enlightened me in regards to a particular symptom or an ailment and given me clarity and a better sense of direction. The internet is an amazing tool that really helps us navigate health and illness. But maybe there are a few times where we should simply stop, relax, and observe before taking action. You see, I have been sick with chronic fatigue syndrome for closing in on almost 3 years now, and during that time, I've spent countless hours trying to scour the internet in hopes to fix myself and make all my symptoms go away. Because isn't that the goal of modern Western medicine, is that we have to make the symptoms go away? If you feel pain, let's stop the pain, right? Well, not always. There is actually a growing pool of research out there that is indicating that many of the ailments, symptoms, and pains that we experience in this life may actually have a much deeper cause. Some of the ailments that plague us may actually simply stem from a deregulated nervous system or even a overload of stress in our brain. Now, I know this sounds a little crazy at first, but I would encourage you to check out the work of some of the following professionals. Dr. David Hanscom is a former back surgeon who now focuses on the healing power of fixing the mind to heal back pain. Psychologist Alan Gordon now helps alleviate pain and symptoms from his patients by dealing with past stress and trauma in the body and in the brain. And Dr. Howard Schupner is well known in the world of chronic fatigue for his knowledge in regards to the power of the mind and how it can affect our body. These are but a few of the medical professionals who are moving towards the idea that our brains are much more powerful than we think, and they can have a huge impact on our physical health. These brilliant minds, each in their respective fields, has a core understanding that the mind is a powerful place, and that sometimes our brain will actually send symptoms to our body in an attempt to get our attention, trying to tell us that something is wrong, not necessarily physically, but rather something is wrong on a much deeper level. Trust me, this all ties into Google, I promise. Just let me cook for a minute, okay? You see, our brains are the control center for our entire body. It's our brain that signals to our legs to move when we command them to do so. It's our brain that tells our eyes to look left and right, and so much more. Our very thoughts actually have more power than we generally believe. And thankfully, society has seemed to become much more accepting of mental health problems, stress, anxiety, and the like. But now the problem, at least for myself, has been that I sometimes think this positive mental health movement has gone too far. Let me give you some real-life examples to explain my point. Have you ever met someone who's blamed their frequent tardiness on their anxiety? Or someone lashes out at you only to blame their mental health? Or yes, even the infamous, I can't come into work today because I need a mental health day. Now, I'm not trying to say that these are invalid experiences or emotions as long as they just happen from time to time. But I'm sorry, if you lash out at your coworker every other day for years on end, I'm not sure that you're just anxious. I think you might just be a jerk. Now, maybe I'm being a bit harsh, but that's just my opinion on the matter. I want the positive mental health group to keep growing. But the problem with any kind of social group is that there's always a few bad apples who ruin the reputation of everyone else. And I only share this because I think for much of my adult life, I've actually looked down upon the positive mental health movement because I've seen too many of those bad apples use their anxiety or their depression as an excuse for bad behavior. So it's taken me some time and humility to see this positive mental health movement as a good thing and even necessary for society. It has helped me transition from thinking that my chronic fatigue absolutely must be caused by some kind of virus or disease to now opening myself up to the possibility of there being a mental health component involved, something that maybe I have left unchecked for years. Which brings me back to my point about searching the internet for your symptoms. You see, I've spent so much of the last 3 years searching through Google and YouTube and the like, trying to find a reason for my illness, something that I can blame and point my fingers at. Mostly because my pride didn't want to admit the fact that there was a possibility that maybe I don't handle stress as well as I think I do. I honestly don't want to tell people that I had to leave my job, get stuck in bed, rely on medications to function, all because I don't have my emotions in check. Because it's harder to admit I might have pent up stress and trauma than it is to say that I have chronic fatigue syndrome. You see, chronic fatigue syndrome gives me something to point my finger at and say, aha, it's your fault. You're the reason I can't live a normal life. Rather than taking a step back and saying, you know what? Maybe I actually don't process stress as effectively as I once thought. And maybe, just maybe, I am the reason that I'm sick. When we hop on our computer, is that not what we are doing? We want to understand our symptoms. We want to have something to blame for being tired. We want to be able to pin the blame on a specific diagnosis so that when people ask, we feel like we at least have a valid excuse for being sick. But guess what? Stress, trauma, anxiety, pent-up emotion, these are all reasons that the body might present itself as being sick as a means to try and get your attention, to deal with some of these past issues. And all the research is beginning to point in that direction. Dr. David Hanscom has helped thousands of people live pain-free by dealing with past trauma and stress. Psychologist Alan Gordon has helped alleviate various ailments by identifying and resolving pent-up emotions. Dr. Howard Schubner has released countless patients from their conditions through emotional awareness and therapy. Our minds are powerful, and we are not taught in school how to handle our emotions as we grow older. For me, most of my life, I would just run things off. Feeling stressed, go run 4 miles. Feeling really stressed, go run 8 miles. And although exercise has actually been proven to reduce stress, there are certain things in life that we still have to face head on. And so when we are feeling symptoms, especially in the world of chronic illness, I simply wonder if sometimes when we open up Google to try and find an answer for our symptoms, I wonder if instead maybe we should take a moment to look inwards and see if there might be an internal cause, instead of always assuming there's something wrong with me physically. Because you know what? It could be possible that my shoulders are hurting because work has been really stressful lately. It's possible I'm having so much indigestion because I've been really anxious about the upcoming family get-together. And maybe I'm possibly putting on extra weight because I'm in this constant state of fight or flight, and my body thinks that I need to store all this extra fat to protect me from all the apparent danger in my life. When we take a step back, it even makes sense logically that our brain might send symptoms to our body as a way to try and communicate to us and tell us that something is wrong. I mean, realistically, stop and think about it. How else is your brain going to communicate with you other than giving you some kind of physical sensation? Yes, there are absolutely so many very real diseases out there, things like cancer, diabetes, heart disease, even the common cold and flu. All of these things require medical attention. So please don't hear me when I say that you need to stop going to Google and stop trying to find answers or stop talking to your doctor. No, of course we need to still talk to our doctors. But I do wonder if sometimes, maybe before we make that initial plunge to the internet, maybe we should take a step back, stop, and think about our symptoms and ask ourselves, is our body trying to tell us something, and do I need to listen to it? Do we need to stop and reflect on our lives and look and see if there's any past trauma that we need to let go of so we can move on in our life? Because you see, with chronic illness, there are so many conditions where doctors feel like they haven't found an actual cause for the condition. Chronic fatigue syndrome would be one of those conditions. They simply think it comes down to an overactive nervous system. Well, what does that sound like? That kind of sounds like stress or anxiety that has been built up over time that needs to be dealt with. So maybe next time you're feeling a weird symptom, take a moment to reflect and look inwards and see if there's something your body is trying to tell you to deal with. And just maybe, we will begin to see some of our symptoms and conditions begin to vanish and fade into the sunset. But what do you think? Were you a regular patient of Dr. Google just like I was? Let's talk about it down below in the comment section. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you enjoyed the video, a simple like or share would go a long ways in helping someone else in their own health journey. As always, my friends, thank you so much for spending part of your day here with me. Please be safe, God bless you, and we will see you in the next one. Adios.